Hello everyone and welcome back to the homestead. I am fresh back from work and I'm just taking a walk out to the garden to kind of see how things are doing and maybe look for some strawberries that Emma might have missed over the course of the day. Emma she's so good about coming out here and kind of squeaking off all the strawberries that are in the garden. So for me to even find this one is lucky. It's so good. Everything is doing pretty well out here. We've got our brassicas behind me. You can see a couple heads of cabbage there. Broccoli, more cabbage, more broccoli. We've got some carrots over there. The onion raised bed is coming along great. We're actually starting to see some of the onions bulb up, which is really exciting. The garlic bed is going crazy. That's probably going to come up probably another 3 weeks here. We're going to see the garlic ready to come up. I actually came into here the other day and planted some pepper plants in between some of the spots where there wasn't garlic or the garlic didn't come up from last year. I actually got that idea from Amanda over at, I don't know, she's not on YouTube, but if you go to Instagram and punch in AJ Wild Away Farm, I'll leave a link in the description. That was an idea that she actually gave me because your peppers are going to grow through the heat of the summer. Your garlic is going to get harvested, and then by the time you come through to replant your garlic, the peppers will be done for the year. That was a really great companion planting idea that I had never even honestly thought about. The potato tower, which we filmed in the video I'll link up in the corner, is doing actually better than I thought. I was a little bit worried about it at first, but the potatoes kind of found their way to the sides and are growing out, and there's actually a lot of foliage on it now. I'm thinking we might actually do pretty well with that. The walking onions that we planted a couple weeks ago have taken and are really doing well. Although I think, and I wasn't sure about this at first, but we may have ended up with 2 different varieties. I don't know if it happened by accident or something went on, but one of the pots that we got is producing pretty obvious bulbules like I'd expect to see from walking onions. But the other one that we got is producing flowers that are a lot closer to what I've seen from traditional onions in the past. If you have an idea what's maybe going on, and if there's different varieties of walking onions, I'm sure there are, but let me know what you think. If did we get both walking onions, or is one a walking onion and one is something else? Leave it in the comments down below. I'd love to hear what's going on with these because I'm totally new to this whole thing. So the garden is doing great. That's not why I'm recording this video. So I just got home from work and I wasn't planning on recording a video today. This is kind of off the cuff. I saw something that made me want to put this video out there, and it was kind of in conjunction with something that happened at work today that kind of spurred it. So a couple days ago, Jess over at Roots and Refuge posted a video about some contaminated soil she had gotten for her high tunnel that was causing some issues. She suspects that the topsoil she got was contaminated with a chemical called Grazon, which is a broadleaf herbicide that is applied to grass crops. Think about things like orchard grass and alfalfa and a lot of the grass crops that you see that are typically sold as forage. This herbicide goes in and it kills all the broadleaf plants, basically kills everything that's not grass and leaves you with grass that you can hay and then dry out and feed. And that's not necessarily what this video is about. In her video, she mentioned that it takes 50 billion drops of water to fill up an Olympic-sized swimming pool. And she made the reference that we should all strive to make small choices that that are the drops that can fill up this swimming pool in fixing a broken food system that we're all part of. you know, you can see the things that we're doing here on the farm right now. We are raising our own pork, we're raising our own chicken, we're raising our own turkey, we're growing a garden. We're doing as much to produce our own food as we can, not even from a self-sufficiency standpoint, long-term, doomsday prepper, whatever you want to call it, but simply from the standpoint of, by putting in a little bit of sweat equity, we can feed our family better food. We're not coming at it from the standpoint of doomsday preppers, like some homesteaders tend to go down that route. And while we believe in being prepared, that's not necessarily us and what we want to put out into the world. That sort of thing sometimes I think comes from a place of negativity. You're waiting for the inevitable collapse and you're waiting for a problem to happen. I'm looking at this from the standpoint similar to kind of how Jess made the analogy with the swimming pool, that these are things that we can build up and fix the systems that are broken where we are, so that that collapse doesn't happen. That's neither here nor there. That's not what this video is about. That this video is more about the idea that we can all come together and try to fix a broken system. So I watched Jess's video and it made me think, as a YouTuber who is, you know, have been at this for a few years now. We've got over 20,000 subscribers, which thank you so much. You know, we appreciate that. We've had all of you out there to support us. We've had our patrons over on Patreon supporting us, which I promise your packages for the second quarter are coming this weekend. I'm mailing them out. I'm putting everything together. I've got them. I just need to finish things up and get them in the mail for you. Shameless plug. If you want to become a Patreon, head down to the link in the description. So it got me thinking about where we fit in, besides the small choices we're making for us, but how do we fit into the bigger picture of things? What is my lasting impact, if you will, on where we're at in the world right now? What am I hoping to achieve by doing all this? What is my lasting impact on this whole small farm and homesteading movement beyond what we're doing for ourselves, which is looking for an option to put better food on the table than what you can buy at the grocery store? What is the impact I'm hoping to achieve? What is my legacy going to be? What is the Mindful Homestead for? What is the point of this whole thing? Why did I get on YouTube? But Jess's video made me realize that the ultimate goal for me, and where my head was at, was that I want to bring more drops into the pool. I might not be able to create all these raindrops that it's taking to fill up a pool, but can I become some sort of collection device, maybe a rain gutter? But you think about all these raindrops fall from rain clouds individually, and when they land on a roof, they're collected, they fall into a rain gutter, and then they go down that rain gutter and they come out of that rain gutter like a river. And that steady trickle of water that comes out of your rain gutter, it heads into the ground and it moves to a low spot and it becomes a stream, and a stream flows into another stream and they become larger and maybe they become a creek, and eventually that creek flows into a river and that river flows into the ocean. And very quickly you've gone from raindrop to ocean without even thinking about being captured inside this pool. I'm getting off track here. Let me bring it back. So I mentioned there was an event at work today that kind of spurred me to make a connection and make this video ultimately. A customer came into the feed store today and she brought with her a chick that she had purchased a couple days ago that was not doing so well. Point blank, you know, being jaded farmer that I am sometimes, I looked at the chick and essentially knew it was going to die. Something had happened. It wasn't getting enough food. She mentioned maybe it had a little bit of pasty butt, and I knew looking at it that her best bet was, you know, to give it some electrolytes, keep it warm, but ultimately it was probably going to pass away. It wasn't going to make it. And in my head, I struggled to kind of convey that to the customer who had their young child there with them, who was distraught over this chick that was going to pass away. In my head, I was trying to process how to essentially not make them the jaded farmer too, but elevate their conscience about, you know, raising your own food and raising livestock, and, you know, explain that without writing it off, but say sometimes these things happen. The food system is not always, you know, sunshine and rainbows. Like these things, it can't always be perfect sometimes, and it's not your fault. And it made me realize that as somebody with a platform, not even from the YouTube standpoint of things, but just as a person who works in a feed store and has interactions with customers that are new to livestock and new to chickens and new to farming, I have the ability as a person to be that rain gutter and, you know, collect some of those drops that are falling and combine them and move them into a stream that, you know, this person got some chickens and that was it. You know, that was the start. But now all of a sudden, you know, they're making choices and they have the ability and they've got somebody that can talk to them and guide them through this process and bring them further into the fold. You know, it's no longer one person getting some chickens, being a little raindrop falling onto a roof, but now they're in the gutter with me. And that's a terrible way to phrase it. But they're in the gutter and now we're both moving together, my raindrop and her raindrop, and we're moving through the gutter. And that's the sort of thing as a creator and a YouTuber who also happens to be in this homesteading and farming genre, that's the sort of thing that really gets me excited. And hearing Jess talk about it, and, you know, she's inspired more people than we'll ever inspire here at the Mindful Homestead. Maybe, I don't know, maybe we'll come for you, Jess, one day, who knows. But I felt compelled after that interaction to pull one of my business cards. We have Mindful Homestead business cards. I pulled one off the bulletin board in the back where I have them all pinned up there, and handed it to her and said, if you ever have any questions or you ever need help, feel free, reach out, and I will be that asset to you. I'll be that you know, mentor, if you will. Not that I'm so far into this that I would call myself a professional by any means, but even having somebody there to kind of walk you through something as trivial as a chick dying, you know, for us that raise chickens regularly and have a bunch, that's it almost happens without us even thinking about it. It's, oh, a chick died, and, you know, you feed it to your pigs, or you put it in the compost, or, you know, you dispose of it however you choose to do that, and you move on with your day. And we have YouTube as a platform. There's 20,000 subscribers plus now, but every small farmer or homesteader, you are plugged in somehow, whether you have Facebook or whether you have Instagram, whether you have friends that are farmers that you network with, or you're just active in your town. You have a network of people that you have the ability to influence and bring along and act as a collection device for these raindrops that are constantly falling out of the sky, which it's actually starting to look like it might rain here soon. So we'll try and wrap this up for you. In thinking about this whole aggregation of raindrops concept that I had kind of milling around in my head, I kind of came up with a loose set of challenges for everybody out there. If you're watching this video, whether you are a never ever, not a farmer, never grew a garden, to, you know, a large scale food producer. You know, maybe you have a large monoculture farm, or maybe you're running a large pasture raised pork operation or pastured poultry. In my head, I came up with a few little challenges for each of you that hopefully can keep building steam and keep things rolling and moving in the right direction, because I genuinely feel that we're not on a doomsday course yet. We can reverse what's broken in our food system. If you're square one, not a farmer, not a food producer, you've never done this, maybe you've grown some herbs on your windowsill, but that's about it. My challenge to you is to pick one meal a week and buy that entirely from a small local producer, whether it is meat and vegetables that you turn into a meal, whether it's, you know, a prepared meal from somebody that maybe is doing a value-added meal delivery service from their farm, whether it's taking your CSA and just going wild with it. Do something. Start with like one meal a week that is entirely locally produced. Go from there and just see after that how you can incorporate locally produced foods into other meals, whether you do 2 meals a week or 3 meals a week. Try it out, give it a shot. That's my challenge to the never ever. To the small scale producer, which I sort of feel like Jackie and I fit into. We are a small producer of food. We're not large scale by any means, but we've been doing it long enough now where we kind of have some time under our belt, and we have a level of confidence in what we're doing that isn't necessarily there with a first time never ever farmer. For the small scale food producer, my challenge to you, and it's arguably the most important out of all of them, is to take somebody under your wing, find a mentee. Is that a word? Find somebody to mentor. Bring someone under your wing if you're able to post to a local Facebook group, you have a town Facebook group. I think every town on the face of the planet has a Facebook group now. Post there and say, hey, I produce food, I have a garden, I raise pigs, I raise chickens. I'm looking for people that would like to do the same. Just this week, I posted on the local town Facebook page that on Saturday I was going to be processing chickens. I didn't have enough time to get like the full chicken processing workshop that I've done in the past. I didn't have time to work that all up. I didn't want to work it all up, really. I just wanted to kind of process chickens and be done with it. And within a day, I had 5 people from town that had volunteered to come out, learn how to process chickens, help me on chicken processing day, and then they get to go home with a bird that we've raised on our farm that they've processed start to finish. There's now going to be 5 people in my town that have arguably now taken the step that is one of the most intimidating for somebody just getting into raising pastured poultry for meat. These are people that have maybe had poultry before, they've raised chickens, but they've never crossed the line into processing their own chickens. They now are going to have that skill where they can take that home and do it on their own and become a small producer themselves. To me, that's one of the most important things you can possibly do as a small farmer or homesteader is teach somebody else. For you large-scale producers, or what I'm going to also include as influencers, maybe you've got a big YouTube channel, or maybe you've got a really strong following on Instagram, my challenge to you is similar, but slightly more targeted. My challenge to you is to do one thing a week, whether it's a post or a video or something that is aimed at bringing people into the fold. People that have never ever done anything. Maybe they've never even grown an herb on their windowsill or never thought about purchasing meat from the producer themselves. My challenge there is you have that power to inspire, and I'd love to see a proactive approach by you guys out there that have more of a following than us at getting new people involved in farming and getting them into doing what we're doing. Because just like Jess mentioned in the raindrop analogy, it takes 50 billion raindrops to fill a pool. There's not even 50 billion of us on the planet, so it's going to involve everybody making multiple choices and combining those choices into rain gutters, which become streams, which become creeks, which become rivers, which become oceans. This is something we got to get everybody falling out of the sky first as a raindrop before we can all come together and fix it. So yeah, I just looked at the timer on the camera right here and it says I've been talking to you for 26 minutes. Not all that's going to make it into the video. But those are my challenges. That's kind of my response to what Jess said. I think it's bigger than just targeting the graze-on and contaminated soil problem. We got to get people involved. We got to get people converted. And I think it would be awesome if we came at it from a place of positivity and working together to fix what's broken, rather than convincing people that collapse is inevitable, and if they're not on board, they're screwed. Because honestly, if the food system collapses entirely, it doesn't matter if you've got your garden started, your animals started, if you've got canned goods put up. We're all screwed anyway. Nobody wants to live in a world that is hell on earth. So I think if we can get things turned around and moving in the right direction, we'll all be better off. Thanks for watching, everybody. If you like what I just talked about, hit that subscribe button down below. As always, thanks for watching and have a great day. Bye.